Hello and welcome to the part 2 of lenses. So this is the graph we made in the previous part of lenses, and maybe in this part we will try to add some more details, and basically we will try to add a little bit more nodes that could help us to create a lot of variety in our lenses. Okay, so we can basically pick and choose what we want to use. Okay, right, so we've created last time this and those swirls as well. I'm not gonna go crazy with them. I'm just gonna put it somewhere in the middle, or maybe somewhere about 25%. Okay, right, so now let's focus on maybe rays. So I would maybe start with shape. Something like this. I'm gonna warp it. For the warp I will need a parallel noise. Maybe let's put it to 2, because what we're looking for some sort of variety in terms of shape, just a bit more randomness. Now let's maybe try to create a gradient basically. Okay, so let's go for the blur. Or maybe let's try the high quality one. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but maybe, yeah, okay. So you see we've got this nice variety in on our edges here, which is what I want. But I also want to use only the top part of this gradient. So what I'm gonna use transform. I'm gonna disable tiling on this transform here, and I'm just gonna maybe not just offset but scale it as well. So we basically got something like this. Okay. For the blur, what else do I need? Well, let's see if we can make some lines out of this. Okay. I just want just a little blur. I'm gonna drag it through histogram scan. And I'm gonna use directional blur, but I want to put 90 degrees on the rotation. Okay, I'm gonna put a crazy value here, but let's say 200 maybe. Okay, I'm gonna add some additional randomness to it, so I'm gonna use directional warp and maybe use one of those textures. I'm gonna rotate it and plug it in, see what kind of results we could get. Maybe let's put 90 degree here as well. And now we're gonna go back to this texture, and we definitely want to reduce the amount of those lines. So as you can see, I'm just adding randomness to it, right? I'm just, I'm trying different nodes, see what kind of results I could get. And sometimes, nice accidents happens that you actually discovered something. So I would suggest that, just play with the nodes, put some random stuff and see what works, and maybe try to extract how you manage to do it. Okay, so You know, maybe we could achieve this texture a little bit easier using different nodes, but that's the power of substance design. I just try different things, see what works. So, you know, I'm just trying to use some crazy nodes in here just to achieve some sort of raise for our lenses. Okay, so let's see if that actually is gonna work. So I'm gonna use levels maybe, because now I want to introduce breaks in between those lines. And now let's see if we can blend it with our gradient. So I'm going to use blend node. And maybe let's try multiply. So as you can see, we got some rays. I think the rays, you know, coming out from the bottom. So now maybe let's try to, I think we can use, let's use, not this one, shape mapper I want to use. Shape mapper, that's the one. As you can see, we got this nice circle. Okay, but this is not what we want. We actually want to reverse. So let's try to maybe go to transform and see if we can actually revert our gradient. See, okay, 180. So as you can see, you know, this simple technique, you could get this sort of stuff, so you can blur it as well. And get some sort of circle, but let's maybe leave it for another tutorial. Okay, so let's just get rid of that one. Right, so we've got this now, and maybe now let's use shape mapper. Let's reduce the pattern amount, something like this. Let's use slope blur, and to the slope blur let's plug in shape, because we actually wanna use the circle here. And let's put maybe 50. And, you know, just try to find a value that is gonna, we just want to hide this edge here. Okay, so be something like this. And now you can go back to your shape mapper and you can play with the amount of the patterns you want to use for this. So let's maybe go for 3. Also, if you think this is a little bit, you know, too much, then you can go to levels and you can, you know, play with those values. And you know, that should give you the flexibility and, you know, some random stuff that you actually want to achieve from those nodes. Okay, so now let's maybe try to plug it to our main nodes that we've created before. I'm gonna use blend. And I'm gonna add linear. So I've got, you know, those details, those rays that I wanted. Okay, so now if I play with the opacity, I can decide how much I actually want of those rays to be on a texture. Okay, if you think there's too many details, then remember you can always go back in your notes and maybe let's get rid of this swirly thing. See, and what else we can get rid of? Maybe we don't need this, you know, the line in the middle. So let's get rid of it, or maybe make it, you know, just a bit of it. Same here. See, we can get rid of the glow that we've got on the middle as well, or maybe reduce it. Now we could also go back in here and, you know, increase the amount of this so we can get a lot of rays, or maybe just put it into, let's say 2 or 3. I hope you start seeing power of substance design when it comes to some random shapes. Okay, so we've got this. Let's see what else we can blend it with. So maybe what I'm looking to create kind of like a circle shape here around the core. Okay, so let's see if we can use our existing node rather than, you know, trying to create a new one. Right, so I like this circle idea that we had before, so maybe let's drag this and use it with the shape mapper. Okay, cool. And now let's blend it in here. I'm gonna blur it as well. And now I can, you know, shrink it. Somewhere around maybe here. Okay, and now I could go back and just tweak the intensity of our blur. The best thing is I can do this, and then I can blend this as well with another shape mapper. Let's use blur again. Nope, sorry, I want another shape map, so I'm gonna duplicate this one. Yeah, this is what I want. Okay, I'm gonna run it through another blur and blend it together again with add linear. And I'm gonna plug this one in, right. And now if I go to this shape mapper, I can tweak the radius. So we could get, you know, another nice ring there, okay? I think maybe the second shape is a little bit too regular, so I'm just gonna warp it. And with Perlin noise, and plug that in. I'm gonna, you know, go with the smaller scale, and now you can see this second ring is actually, you know, just warp a bit. And now I can play with the shape mapper and get this really nice warpy shape for our ring. Also, if I think it's too intense, I can always reduce the opacity, but I need to plug this in different order. Okay, so now you can see I can, you know, make it just a little bit. Cool. Right, so the next thing I'd like to do is add colors to it, just to see how it looks in Substance Designer, right? Obviously I'm not exporting the texture with the color to the engine, but maybe it's something that you know you want to do. So I'm gonna go to Gradient Editor. I'm gonna select this, add another node, which will be white, because I want core to be glowing white. Maybe here, just, you know, I want to explore a little bit different colors to see what I could get. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with red maybe in this example. Okay, so that's it really. So I hope you started your journey with Substance Designer. You're really enjoying it, because I think later on in the future we might, you know, go to Photoshop. I mean, take those textures, for example, go to Photoshop and see how we can make them even better and maybe more stylized using Photoshop tools. Okay, but for now, let's maybe keep exploring Substance Designer and see what else we can make using this really good piece of software, I think, for both, I think, for environment artists and definitely for VFX artists. I think it works. I think it definitely works in my workflow, so I hope it, you know, you're gonna start introducing this into your workflow, and you'll find some success with it. Right, okay, I'm gonna stop rambling, and that's it. See you in the next tutorial, guys.